Tonight on Dispatches, we hear the true voices of Britain's Muslims.
We live in difficult times, and people are living in fear.
We reveal how Muslim integration in Britain has come to a standstill.
I only hear what Allah and His Messenger say. Can't you get that through your thick skull?
This film is about one of the most difficult and controversial questions facing this country. To what extent do British Muslims represent a threat to this country and its values? The fear is that some British Muslims reject the liberal, secular, tolerant ways that characterise Britain and instead want a Britain that bends to the wishes of Islam. And there's a real anxiety that a small but dangerous group of young men actively support the 7/7 bombings. Are these fears realistic? We do know that some British Muslims have uncompromising opinions.
In Islam, any person who commits adultery will be stoned to death.
But how representative are they? Channel 4 has conducted the most comprehensive and rigorous survey to date of Muslim opinion in Britain. We talked to over 1,000 Muslims, not just angry young men, but the elderly, women, the poor, and wealthy businessmen. For the first time, these results accurately represent the diversity of views in the community.
Do I feel British? Absolutely, yeah. I mean, born and brought up in this country, of course I do.
What we've discovered is important and should fundamentally change our understanding of British Muslims. It will also help shape the debate in how we tackle the threat of extremism. Because what our survey shows is that, in effect, integration has come to an end. Young British Muslims are less liberal, more religious than their parents, and many are determined not just to be different, but to be separate from the rest of the nation. To get to grips with the results of the survey, I'm on a journey through the country to understand what Muslims want. First stop, Stoke-on-Trent. The proportion of Muslims here, 3%, reflects exactly that of the whole country. There are no ghettos, so is it a place where Muslims and non-Muslims live similar lives. It is Sunday, and just as in any other town in the country, a group of young men are playing football. Azad and his friends were all born in Britain, but that doesn't mean that they feel comfortable with everything that is British.
If you ask any Muslim, you know, I've got no problem with anyone sitting in McDonald's eating a bacon and egg butty, because that's none of my business. Yeah. What I'm concerned with is the foreign policy of this country and every other European country.
I don't like no terrorists and all that. I just want everyone to live happily in that.
When a roadside bomb goes off in Iraq and 24 people, you know, die, it's the same as when 54 people die on the 7th of July. But where's the silences and the remembrances for the Muslims?
When the talk turns to the events of 9/11, their comments reveal views out of step with wider public opinion. They simply don't believe 9/11 was the work of Islamic terrorists.
I think it was all set up, if you ask me.
It was all set up to be...
It was all government.
For all we know, Bush and Bin Laden could be sitting in one room together right now and sipping champagne.
Who's to blame for 9/11? Is it Bin Laden or is it Bush? Or is it both of them? Yeah, why can't they get Bin Laden? Because if they get Bin Laden, it's game over. They'll have to leave the Middle East. And they don't want to leave the Middle East, so that's the reason they've put there.
They also think that Princess Diana was killed because of her relationship with a Muslim.
Why haven't they got to the bottom of Princess Diana's death till yet? You can see what happened there.
Do you know what I think what happened on Princess Diana's death? I think, right,
inside job.
I think, right, that because they thought that Diana would get married to that guy, Muslim guy, and if he would have had a kid, and then I don't know, someday he would have been king or something.
The surprising thing is not that some Muslims choose to believe conspiracy theories, but that these views are so widely held. In our representative survey, 4 out of 10 think Diana was killed to stop her marrying a Muslim, and half believe 9/11 was a conspiracy by the USA and Israel. It seems many British Muslims believe the establishment is conspiring against them. This is not a community at ease with the country they live in. Assad and his friends, part of the more than 1.5 million strong Muslim community now living in Britain. Most have families who came from the Indian subcontinent in the 1960s or 70s, or from Africa more recently. The big assumption was that, like other migrants, they would settle here and integrate into British society. But our survey shows that this process of integration is quite different when it comes to Muslims. 90 miles north of Stoke lies Bradford, a city with a large Muslim population. Many Muslims here have settled, like they have elsewhere in Britain, in the poor, deprived part of the inner city, where unemployment levels are high, educational achievement is low. In 2001, riots broke out as thousands of young men fought each other in the city's streets. The official report into those riots said that the main cause of the disturbances was the fact that Muslims and non-Muslims lived parallel and separate lives. These northern towns symbolize a kind of culture clash in which Muslims are seen in some way to be isolated, insular, separatist. The question is whether religious commitment is the force that separates Muslims from the rest of Britain, one of the most secular countries in the world. Certainly, our survey found that 93% said that religion was important to them. Shireen Najjarali, a 45-year-old mother of two, has successfully made her home here. She teaches children the Qu'ran from her front room every afternoon.
So when you're reading it, it stays alif zabar a. All you have to say is a. Okay? All right. Try it again. Good. Very good. Who hasn't read?
Islam is central to Shireen's life.
I do whatever has to be done, wherever you are in the world. You have to do these things. If you are a Muslim...
You will bring up your daughters to be...
Like me?
Yeah.
They'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and read the namaz and then go back to bed. They'll do that.